I just came in from this little walk out through my backyard forest. I've been cooped up for the past few days, just itching to get outside because it's finally, the days are longer, the skies have been blue, and this horrible cold wind has just been so persistent. But, I finally told myself, like, I just I just got to go deal with it. And so I went out there and took a little walk, got to go watch Ben solo up a little cliff, which is always an interesting time. I wanted to come back here and shoot this final video immediately, even though I'm a little bit disheveled. I've just, as we bring this 7-day springtime event to a close, I really just wanted to create a space where I could show up every single day and speak to this theme that is, often in life we just really cling to these things that we want. We want to be able to spend more time out on a beautiful day doing the things that light us up. And oftentimes we get those days, and that's wonderful. And oftentimes life is filled with that which is more unpleasant and that we just don't really want to be in. And that's sort of an easy, soft way of putting things, right? A more perhaps aggressive way to put it is that there's so much alive in our world that is just really hard to deal with. A lot of things that, we just want to be done with. And it's this theme, that's been alive all week. That's how can we navigate these complicated spaces, this thing we called life, where there's always so much light and joy available, and at the same time there is all this darker, heavier stuff at play. And sometimes it's easier to enter into these conversations, having a little bit of fun, bringing this light springtime theme. And, then comes the time to sit down and really, really learn to be in these harder, darker spaces, which aren't a whole lot of fun, but really are being asked to be in our field of awareness, and to do so in a way that we can really hold space in a way that taking this the next step further really leads to us to be able to take action. Now, I know we have a lot of different things alive in this space, and that was, part of my intention was, can we play in this field that is these different complicated threads of life that come together? Again, as we have some fun and as we maybe get a little bit more serious and focused on, how we can better show up in the world to really face the again, those darker, heavier, unpleasant, or outright horrible things. With that last terrible note, I wanted to extend a formal invitation. This space which I symbolically, metaphorically, but also realistically call the forest. The forest, this space that is interwoven with all these different threads. A space where the light pours through and we have the ability to step into it as we hear the wind softly through the needles and keep our awareness out for those darker things. Taking the right course of action when that's really needed, when it's asked for. This ability to be in it all, because it is all alive in our world and it is all alive in our lives. And oftentimes we find ourselves in spaces where the invitation, the ask, or more the push is to be on one side or the other, to either put our attention fully into the light and focus there with this effort to transcend it all, or we are asked or told to put our heads down and work hard and really focus on solving problems. And while both of those have their time and space where they are each useful, can we learn to live life as this interwoven, constantly dancing through it all sort of way? So about that invitation, what I have for you, I've been working on for many, many months now. I've spoken to you if you've watched some of at least one of the other videos. It's been alive in the newsletter. This space where we can come together and do this, to being experiential conversations such as this one, where we can explore different themes, have some fun doing so, get a little bit more serious at times, perhaps get very serious at times. Do it all as we are learning to do it in an ever more embodied way. And what I mean by that, because I know that's a term that gets thrown around a lot these days, but a way that's really held in our full selves, in a way that isn't done just from this headspace, this space where we try and we try and we try and we think and we think and we think and we work to solve. And while that's amazing and that truly does bring a lot of value to our lives and to this world, it's not the thing that's going to bring us forward. It's not the thing that is going to help our own selves to heal from the anxious, chaotic, maybe depressive spaces that a lot of us find ourselves in. It's not going to necessarily heal our physical bodies, which a lot of us really suffer with. It's not going to be the sole thing that brings joy and fulfillment. It's certainly not going to be the thing that allows us to weave all of these things together. And that's just for our own selves, right? When we start to think about our connection to everything else out there that's playing on the world stage, in our communities, on our lands. It's come to my understanding that we can really only work in these different spaces in a very true, aligned way that truly adds value, right? Truly adds value without harming ourselves along the way. It can really only be done, again, from this embodied space where we are so connected into ourselves that we're able to, make those oftentimes, but not always, tougher decisions. Where do we put our attention? Where do we put our effort? Is it appropriate to give more of ourselves towards this problem? Or is it more appropriate to rest or rejuvenate? Or, maybe spend some time pursuing a passion that lights up our own hearts. So many different threads to work with here in this forest space. And if this is speaking to you in any way, I would love to see you in this new online space I've created where, again, we can come together and really play with these different threads, bring them home with real embodied practices, guided meditations, yoga, that sort of thing. So with that, I think I'll leave you today. And as always, just thank you if you are still here with me. Thank you for joining me in this space today, for joining me all week long, if you've been here all week long. And I look forward to seeing you in whatever next space brings us together.